All right, it looks like we're live on one, so that's fun. Oh, and we're live on two. How exciting. This is you and I's first live together.
I know, I'm like very excited.
Yes, I am too. I was just talking to some Enneagram friends of mine last night, and they're really excited to hear what we have to say today.
Yes, Kendall and I love the Enneagram, so we will always talk to you about the Enneagram.
Yes.
It's
Sometimes
cool.
we talk in Enneagram.
Yes, we talk too much about the Enneagram, I think.
Yes. And I actually just met someone who I guess I did something and she said, "Oh, you know the Enneagram?" And I was like, yes, let's talk Enneagram.
It's so great when other people like hearing about the Enneagram too.
Yes.
You ask people what their number is and then they can tell you right away instead of like looking at you weird, like, what does that mean?
Yes. Yes, that is a really good sign as to who knows what the Enneagram is. What's your number?
I'm a 7. Kendall, what are you?
I'm a 9.
Oh yeah, I knew that. I knew that about you. 9's are the best.
Nines. I feel the same way too.
Everyone loves a 9. Everyone needs a 9 in their life. Like, I really believe that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Definitely. We're the peacekeepers.
You are.
So hi Tiffany. Good afternoon. All right, so we are just a couple minutes in. I guess we'll start while other people are joining on. We'll start off by introducing ourselves, or yeah. So I am Kendall. I am the guest experience manager at our Newport News campus. Um, I don't know. I guess maybe that's all I'll say. Do you guys want to know that I have 3 kids? Probably not.
You should tell them your Enneagram number again in case they hopped on late.
Okay. I am a 9, which is a peacemaker, and it is the best number.
It's not wrong. My name's Miranda Kennedy, and I am the groups and students manager at our Yorktown campus. And my Enneagram number is a 7, which is the enthusiast. So it's a good time.
Yes. Yes.
We like to have fun.
Yes. So in the chat, you can tell us what your number is. And Damaris is on. She said, I'm a 9 too, and everyone loves us.
It's true.
And Casey is a 9 too. Yeah, there's a bunch of 9s in the chat today. And hi, Dion. I'm glad you guys could all join us. Oh, Tiffany said she is new to the Enneagram, but she took it last night when she saw that this was going to be live. So that's awesome.
What number did she get?
Yeah, what number did you get, Tiffany? Casey said 9s are taking over the world.
They are.
Savannah hopped on and she's a 9 too.
Yep. They're the best ones to have around, I'm telling you.
Yeah. Yeah, I am pretty cool. Tiffany hasn't responded yet. So we will, while we're waiting for her, we'll go ahead. Oh, she's a 2. Ooh, a helper.
These are great too.
Yeah. Okay, so Jesse is asking, what is that? All right, so we'll just go straight into it then. We're going to start off by answering that question. What is the Enneagram? I see that some of you have heard of it and some of you have not, so this is perfect. We'll give a quick little overview and then we'll dive a little bit deeper. So the Enneagram is essentially a personality typing system that models 9 different personality types, which means that nobody can get a 10 because there's only 1 through 9.
No one's a 10 on this scale, guys. Sorry.
And it's a circular 9-point diagram based on how you see the world. It's essentially, it helps reveal why you think, feel, and behave in certain ways. But the best part about the Enneagram is it's seeing how God created us.
Yeah, and the cool thing about the Enneagram too is like a lot of people, because it's been in talk like in the past couple years, really big, like I feel like it's become more popular. It's actually a really old system.
It is.
The name is Greek. That's where you get the Ennea 9, and the gramma means something drawn or written. So it's actually, we'll show you guys, it's actually a circular little diagram that connects all of the numbers, and we'll explain how they're all connected and everything like that. So it seems like something new and trendy, but it's actually pretty old. So
Yeah. I'm sharing the Enneagram diagram that she was talking about right now, right?
yeah, this is
Okay.
it here. So we'll kind of go through all of this and explain it to you. If you guys have heard of the Enneagram before, give us a thumbs up. That way we know that you already know.
Okay.
All right. So for those of you guys who actually aren't as familiar with the Enneagram, or maybe you don't know your number yet, there's like a million tests. If you were to search Enneagram online right now, you could find so many free tests to take. And Kendall, you may think differently, so you can chime in on this, but I actually think that tests are not always accurate. If you're anything like me, sometimes I don't always answer as accurately on a test. I'm not as truthful with my answers because I want to be
Yes.
more helpful than I am in
Yes.
real life or
Yes.
something else. So I don't tend to discourage people from taking the test. I think it's a good starting point, but I think the best way to know what number you really are is by learning more about each number, and you'll really see it.
Yeah.
And for me, I actually confirmed that I was a 7, not necessarily by all the great traits, but by the weaknesses and the sin that's associated with my number. And so it's really good to take into account, like, not only the good qualities of each number, because you'll find yourself in many numbers, but to really like hone in on what are the weaknesses of that number, what are the sins associated with that number. And that's where you can kind of get a little bit more revealed to you, if that makes sense.
No, it does. I tested as a 9 years ago when I first heard about it. And then I just retook it, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, a couple of months ago, just because I felt like retaking it. And I got a 2. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I've been a lie to myself this whole
Identity
time.
crisis.
Yes. But you're right, though. Once I started really looking at not just the answers to the test and what it gave me, but what really makes up a 9 and a 2 and its core values and what really makes them do what they do, I realized that I answered the questions the way I wanted to be the second time. So yeah, I'm definitely a 9. Yeah.
Yeah, 2s actually, I think, are the numbers that get mistyped the most, because 2s are helpers.
Yeah.
And I think all of us like to think of ourselves as helpful.
Yeah.
I think I realized how not helpful my number actually is, even though I wish I were more helpful. But 2s are great. If you are a real 2, props to you, because
Yes.
that's awesome.
Yes.
So I'll share I'm not going to go through every number for sake of time, but I'm going to go through a couple of numbers. And I'll give you, I feel like I'm exposing the staff right now, but I feel like if you have a personality to go with these numbers of someone that you could possibly know, it might make it a little bit easier for you to relate them. So I'll start with number 1. Okay. So 1s are often nicknamed the perfectionist. And so that kind of means that they are, just in a few words, orderly, self-controlled, responsible, dependable, critical. They're motivated by a desire to live the right way and improve the world. So if you know Tiana, for example, 1, she's a 1. And that's why you see excellence in our production, because she's over our production. 1s are great people to have on staff. You need 1 on your staff for sure. I'll go through 3. 3s are called the achievers. They are known as being productive, competitive, ambitious, driven. They're diligent and image conscious. They are motivated by a need to appear successful and avoid failure. And so what that looks like on our staff is Pastor Matt and Pastor Stu, both achievers. They are like goal setters and goal crushers. So you see that often played out in both of them.
Yeah.
I'll do my number. My number is a 7. 7s are spontaneous, they're adventurous, they're visionary, optimistic, imaginative, and scattered. And with me, you already know that. Sevens are motivated by a need to be happy and to plan stimulating experiences and to avoid pain. So that's kind of a 7 in a nutshell. I can't remember if we have other 7s on staff. I'm sure we probably do, and I'm just not thinking of them. Right next to a 7, we have a challenger. That's number 8. Number 8s, they are confident, they're decisive, they're energetic, they're protective, assertive, they're confrontational. 8s are motivated by a need to be strong and avoid feeling weak or vulnerable. And so on our staff, we actually have a couple of 8s. We have Pastor Ben as an 8. Pastor Davy is an 8. Jacob is an 8, if you know any of them. All 8s. 8 is great. And then we'll talk about a 9 too, because you have to love a 9. 9s are our peacemakers. They're easygoing, they're supportive, adaptable, accepting, they're empathetic, sometimes a little bit stubborn. They're motivated by a need to keep the peace, to merge with others and avoid conflict, which is why they make really great friends. And so on staff, that looks like Kendall and Casey and Damaris. 9s are like the ones in your friend group that, like, when your like small little friend group has a fight, they're the one like brings everyone back together. We call them like the glue of friendships because they're like peacemakers.
Yes.
So all the numbers kind of have, their core motivations for each number, and then like great qualities and qualities, that we consider weaknesses. But no number is void of either, if that makes sense. And so you can see that in personalities, but you can also see it in friendships, like I shared with the 9s, being like the glue to friendships. 7s, like my number, are often like the cheerleaders, like we're the encouragers. In a number like 8 with Ben and Jacob and Davy, they're the protectors. So they're the ones that are going to stand up for you and fight for you. 3s like Stu and Matt are the ones that are going to like really champion you and push you. So they're going to be the ones to encourage you to write that book you've always wanted to write, or to sing on the stage, or, whatever it is. Like they're the ones that like dream for you and push you to do those things. And then 1s are the ones that like make all the details come together, like we said with Tian in production, really kind of like are in the details of things and wanting things to be right. So
1s are great. I think for maybe I'm the only 9 like this, but my, it's just so like, oh yeah, all of that sounds great. And then Tiana's like, okay, let's do it like this, and this. And I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for taking all of this like bull and making it nice and pretty so other people understand.
You need all the numbers on a team. It really is. Yeah. It's a team effort.
It is. So I just shared the picture of the Enneagram, the circle. I'm a 9, and there's lines going to it and from it in every way, which shape and form. And then there's also 3 colors. So I'm going to share it again now. Can you, maybe I'm not. Give me a second. But can you go over what those numbers or what the arrows and stuff mean again?
Yeah, so this like graph will actually probably help answer a lot of questions with the Enneagram, because some of the most common questions we get, or misconceptions, I guess, is that you can be more than one number, for example. And you can only be one number. So you can't be like a 7 and a 3 and an 8.
Right.
Or a 9 and a 2 or whatever, like it's only one number that you are. But within this graph here, you'll actually see that you take on characteristics of other numbers. And you'll also see, there it is. Thanks, Kendall. That you take on the qualities of numbers beside you and with these arrows. So the way that this graph that you guys see right here is broken down is there are 3 different sections that these numbers fall under, and it's the head, the heart, and the gut. And that's just like the core of like how your decisions and emotions and everything kind of play out. So we call the 8s, 9s, and 1s right here at the top. This is our head or gut. So decisions are made at like the head level. The head and the anger or the gut. So it's not the head, sorry. You make decisions based on your gut. like the
Yeah.
gut level decisions, if that makes sense. And it
Yeah.
sometimes manifests itself in anger. So challengers express anger externally, nines kind of forget it. That's why they're the peacemakers, and ones internalize it, if that makes sense. So then if you kind of scroll right over, you see the twos, the threes, and the fours. And the twos, threes, and fours are the heart or the feeling. So they make decisions based on feelings. So twos are the ones that are really considerate of feelings of other people. Threes are the ones that kind of stuff their feelings. And then fours are the ones that really internalize their own feelings. So they're kind of in their head. And then if you scroll all the way around here, you see the fives, sixes, and sevens. That is actually the head. And the head is also fear-based. So they make decisions out of fear. So like the fives kind of externalize their fear. The sixes internalize it. So they're kind of like the ones that would worry more or more fearful. And then sevens internalize that. So they kind of take anything that's bad and stuff it way down. Like they want to avoid pain, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
that's kind of like the core of all of these numbers. And then you'll see that the numbers have numbers beside them. So we'll use 8 as the example here. So Pastor Ben and Pastor Davy are both 8s, but they're also different people. And that's because you can actually have a wing number. So your wing number can only be the numbers beside you. So it could be, if you're an 8, that means you could be an 8 with a wing of 9 or an 8 with a wing of 7, if that makes sense. But you can't be an 8 wing 2 or an 8 wing 4 or an 8 wing 5. It's only the numbers beside you. And so as an 8, Ben and Davy probably take on different characteristics of the numbers beside them. Are you with me? Everybody following along? Give a thumbs up if you're following along.
Yeah. I'm totally following along.
You're following along? So
Yeah.
the other crazy thing about why this is all connected and why it sometimes feels like you can't just peg yourself as one number is because there are also these arrows going to your number and from your number. And I'll use mine as an example because I know mine the best. So sevens, for example, you see the arrow that points away from the 7. So the one that had the arrow that has the red pointing away from it. So sevens actually take on unhealthy characteristics of a 1. So when I'm stressed, for example, I can get very perfectionistic. I can be really critical of myself. I take on unhealthy characteristics of a type 1. And then you'll also see a number or an arrow that points away from my number with like a white arrow, and it points towards the 5. And that's because when I'm really healthy, I actually take on the good qualities of a 5. So I can be really focused, have a love of learning, a desire of knowledge, all these healthy qualities of a 5. So a lot of times we say there's no bad numbers, like there are good and bad qualities of every single number. But there are healthy and unhealthy people within the numbers. So going back to that number 8, for example, we have Pastor Stu and Pastor Davy, Jacob, they're 8s, they're healthy 8s. And we think of someone like a Hitler who is probably also a number 8, but an unhealthy 8. So while there's no good and bad numbers, there's good and bad people within these numbers because they're either healthy or unhealthy, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So are we getting any questions? It's a lot. It's a lot to take in.
It is a lot, but everyone is thumbs upping. They're saying you're doing great. So we have a 6 and a 2 that have joined on, actually 2 6s. But so I want to make sure that I understood what you're saying. So I'm a 9, and I believe I am a wing 1 because I'm more perfectionist than I am standing up for what's right. Would that be right? Okay.
Yeah, that'd be right.
Okay, so I'm a 9 wing 1. And then looking at the graph, when I am not doing so good, I'm the bad qualities of a 6.
Yeah.
So I would have a lot of anxiety and overthinking.
Yep. Anxiety, overthinking, worry is probably a big thing, because 6s are fear-based. And so they tend to be, they can be worrisome.
I'm like, wow, yeah, that is 100% me.
When you're stressed, do you feel that?
Yes. I mean, seriously, it's crazy how real and true this is. Okay. So then if I am healthy, I'm a 3.
Yeah.
Taking the qualities of a 3.
Yeah.
So true. I do. I like to achieve and I want to see others achieve. That's awesome. That's
So
really
you
cool.
probably, when you're like in your zone, in your wheelhouse, you're probably setting goals and you're probably crushing your goals
Yeah.
the same way. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why
Wow.
you can take on different characteristics. And that's why I think sometimes people get confused without seeing this, because you would be like, oh, well, I don't have every quality of my number, or
Right.
feel like I have qualities of other numbers.
Right. Because
And
we
this kind of
do.
brings it literally full circle here.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it really does. And I also like that you went over the triads because I do think with my gut, and which I think is a lot, it's not just my heart and it's not just my head, it's my whole body sometimes. And I know that nines have sometimes been called sloth, but I think it's because I take so much on as my whole body that the feelings just become overwhelming and I'm just like, okay, I'm numb. Which is what I think people sometimes say they're I think the bad qualities can be like a lazy or a sloth, but it is because I feel everything with my gut, which is like my whole body.
Yeah, no, that's so true. So every number actually has like a deadly sin associated with it also, which
Mm.
is like, this is embarrassing. I'm like exposing myself. It's embarrassing for me to say, but for mine, when I like first read it, it was gluttony, and I thought, that's not mine. Like, I'm not overeating things or whatever. And
Right.
the more like research I did, it's actually like gluttony is in like not enough. Like you want more experiences or like more of anything. And I think, gosh, that's so true of me in my life. Like I always want more of something. Like I'm rarely am I satisfied with certain things. And another one that I feel like I should share on here, because I think can be kind of confusing, is eight. There, the deadly sin for the type 8 is actually lust. And I think a lot of times we think of that in like a sexual way, but in this way it's really like a need for control, or kind of like a need to like intensity, a lust after intensity, excessiveness. It kind of falls under that category versus like a true sexual lust, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So what's a nine sin? Is it sloth, laziness?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sloth
Yeah.
is the nines. Yeah. And it's not even in like a, oh, I'm a lazy person, like I lay on the couch and I do nothing. It's sometimes it can even kind of refer to like a spiritual laziness, like
Mhm.
you fall asleep to your own priorities or your own personal development or your responsibilities if it becomes too overwhelming to you. So it also is another one that is kind of like, you see that and you're like, well, I'm not lazy. But then
Yeah.
you see how it manifests in your personality, you can find the different ways for it.
Yeah. You said that so well that we can fall asleep to our own spiritual needs because we are peacemakers and we do want to make sure other people are happy and at peace. And wow. Yeah. So the Enneagram is so much fun. I
It's very
love it.
revealing.
It is in such a good way. So why do we want to care about the Enneagram? Like, okay, this is cool and fun, and now I know this, that, or the other, and what triad I'm in. But why should we care?
Yeah, I mean, there's kind of like, there's many reasons why we should care. I think one of the things that I always like kind of caution people or warn people on is using their Enneagram as like an excuse or like a sword and a shield when it comes to like justifying sin or making excuses for ourselves. Because like for me, the easiest thing to be is like, hey, I'm always gonna be a flaky friend because I'm a 7. Like, no, that's not, I don't want to always be a flaky friend. Like I know I have knowledge of my weaknesses now. So I know what, like I can be conscious of what I do and what I
Yeah.
tend to do so that I can make better choices, so that I can be a better friend. And then as I get to know my friends' numbers, like I see, oh, like here are ways that I can be a better friend to them because I know their needs and I know what I can show them more grace when I know that, their challenges are different than mine and vice versa. I
Right.
think one of the most revealing things about this whole Enneagram, and the only reason I really even encourage people to take it, is because it helps us to see that like nothing is going to fill those gaps except for Jesus for us. Like we have Enneagram numbers, they all have like a common desire and, motivation, and those things are only fulfilled in Christ. Like as a 7, I'm never, no experience, no amount of more will ever fulfill what Christ can only fulfill in my life. And so I think it just brings
For
you
sure.
back like to Jesus, with all of it is like, like in my weaknesses, I still have a need for Jesus, and I can recognize that in the core fears, the common fears. And there's actually we can share some resources with you guys after this too,
Yeah.
with some verses that we have shared in the past with some students about kind of like common fears and Bible verses that go with them
Yep.
for each Enneagram number.
Yes.
Um, because, for example,
Oh, sorry.
a six is, one of the common fears of a six, which is a fearful number, like a worrisome number, is that they're also extremely loyal, which is a great thing. But one of their biggest fears is like, am I safe? Like, am I safe? Am I secure? And so what we realize is like, because of Christ in you, you're always safe and secure because he's always with you and he's always for you, for example.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think as we see those things, we can recognize how Christ fills those for us, like the
Yeah.
gaps for us.
Yeah. Absolutely. I love that this personality test, you can make it, well, it is spiritual. You
Mhm.
can take what you learn, your fears or your sin, and then you can have a Bible verse or a devotion that can help get you out of that. So this isn't just telling you, um, six is you're fearful, and you're always going to be worried and anxious. Like it's like, yes, you may have those problems, but now here's the Bible and the word that can help you overcome that. Yeah, I love that the Enneagram doesn't just tell you your downfalls and your positives. It actually helps to make you a better person, or help you can take it if you want to, or you can just look at the information and just look
Yeah, and it really points us back to God's word because we see that he's the one that fulfills those things. We find the ways that he fulfills those things in scripture. And so a lot of times we'll say that like the Enneagram helps us to know who we are, but God's word helps us to know whose we are, if that makes
uh
sense. And
yes, say that again.
that's the real glory of this. So
Oh,
Enneagram helps us to know who we are. God's word helps us to know whose we are.
I love it. So we do have a question.
Okay.
Tiffany asked, do you find that it lines up with your spiritual gifts?
Yeah, yeah, a lot of times it does. I think it's kind of crazy because I feel like sometimes it'll line up with like your Myers-Briggs, your spiritual gifts, a little bit of everything. You'll see a lot of overlap, but you'll see differences within all of the numbers too. It's not like everyone who's a seven would have necessarily the same spiritual gifts as I do or
Yeah.
as someone else who's a seven. But yeah, you'll definitely see overlap in a lot of those things too. That's a great question.
Miranda in the chat. Isn't that fun?
What a great name. Is she a seven?
Oh my gosh, yeah, Miranda Farley, are you a seven? But she said, oh, she's a type nine.
Oh, I love
Thing
that.
one. She is currently reading The Road Back to You. Have you read that book?
Yes, that's one of my very favorite books. I recommend that's like a great starting point book for anyone who wants to know more about the Enneagram. 10
Yeah,
out of 10 recommend Miranda.
yeah. And we have another question about the test. You said there's lots of different ones. What would you recommend?
That's such a tough question. There are so many now. The test I took was like it has been a couple years now since I've taken it, and I took like a paid test as part of like a class that I took. But I'll link some good ones once we're finished here. I'll link a couple good ones and some books for you guys as well.
Cool. Awesome. So we have a lot of people telling us their numbers: sixes and nine wing ones and twos. And where was the eight?
Are there any sevens?
Are there
All
any
the sevens are outside right now.
yes, yes. We have an eight wing too. That's fun. Yeah, wow. Where Autumn. I don't know how to say her last name. Tilgman?
Tillman, yeah, Autumn. Oh,
Tilgman.
hi,
She's
Autumn.
a seven, a strong seven. That's
She
what
is
they
a seven.
say.
We've been on adventures together.
Oh, she just said, girl, you know I'm a 7. That's so awesome. Okay, do you guys have any questions for us? I am watching, as you can tell, but we're here to answer any questions you may have. Oh, yeah, we do have one. Do you find it, oops, I already read that one.
Wow,
Click.
Kendall. No,
Yeah.
just kidding.
Haven't had my whole cup of coffee yet. Oh my goodness. All right. So let's
You
go.
guys can talk to Kendall and I anytime you have questions about the Enneagram. We'll answer
Yeah.
them for you or what we know.
Yeah. Like we said when we first started, we absolutely love talking Enneagram.
Yeah. And there's no better time than quarantine to do a little reading up on it, you know?
Yeah, to really invest in yourself and figure out who you are and who God made you to be. And yeah, absolutely.
And your friends, who God made your friends to be, how you can be a better
Yes.
friend.
Yeah. My friend Sherry, we just finished studying the Enneagram together in our group. And she said that it was really nice to learn about other people's numbers because it did help her to see, oh, that's why they do that. And she could help encourage them or show them if they're kind of veering off course or if they're like really strong. And yeah, it is really awesome. It's not just about yourself. You're right. It is about your friends and learning all about people around you.
Put some hearts in the chat if you want Kendall to do an Enneagram group again.
Oh dear. Yeah, put some hearts in the chat. If also if you want any of the PDFs that we showed.
Yeah, we can share some resources with you guys too. We'd be happy to.
Yeah. Oh, we have another 2.
2.
Yeah, another helper. Alexis is on. She says hi.
Oh, so I said hi. Hi. Hi, Alexis.
Miranda says, do you have a favorite social media account that shares Enneagram wisdom? Yes.
Oh, yeah, I have like 12. Hold on, let me.
Yes. Oh, yes.
I don't know that it shares wisdom, but I have ones that share a lot of memes.
Yes, and they're funny. Yes.
They're really funny. Hold on, let me see which ones I follow. There's like, I follow a lot of them.
A lot of mine are on Instagram. And they create really good graphics too.
I'll have to link them because I have to find them because I don't remember their names.
Okay.
I feel like I'll be like scrolling, like, oh, let me find them.
I really like your Enneagram coach.
Yes. That
She's
actually has like really good information.
Yeah, she's very informative. She's got free videos, free downloads. I see you, Sherry. Hearts for another Enneagram group.
I follow Enneagram and Coffee. That's a good one. That's on IG.
That is a good one.
I'm gonna find my funny memes one and then I'll post that for you guys too.
Okay.
You just need a funny memes. And once you know that, like once you know the numbers for Enneagram, the memes just become funnier and funnier.
No, it really does, yeah.
They're really good.
Tab has a question. How do you use the Enneagram to help you with relationships with others?
Oh, that's a great question. We talked about this like very briefly, but I think knowing like certain things about other friends is like a way that it's kind of twofold. It's a way that you can like show them love better, almost in the same way that like love languages work. And then it's also a way to extend grace if you know that they're like wired for certain things. Like for example, like one of my very best friends is a 6. And so like I know that she tends to like worry or be more cautious, if that's probably a better word. And I'm like complete opposite. I'm like, I need a seatbelt, I wear my seatbelt, but and so I know that there are certain things like I don't want to dismiss her feelings about something because I have zero caution and she has a lot of caution about things. And so I think had I not known that about her, it'd be easy for me to just dismiss it and be like, why are you so worried about that? Or, why does that even matter? It's not important. And now I know like this may not feel worrisome or important to me, but I know that it is for her, and I can recognize that. For example.
Yeah, that's awesome. Pat Booker says, how about doing this with the older student groups?
Yeah. We did a breakout for our students at the end of January. So some of our students could actually tell you about the Enneagram too.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Bonnie would like PDFs and book titles, please.
Okay. Tell her we got her.
Yeah, so we've got a lot that we're going to share as soon as we end this. If there's one more question, we'll take one more question, and then we'll sign off, because it looks like we've got a lot to send to you guys. We've got PDFs, book titles, Enneagram or Instagram handles.
Memes.
Yeah. Oh, there's Savannah said Enneagram 9 memes on Insta is really funny for 9 specific.
It's great.
Oh, that's great. Savannah said she was between a 3 and a 6, and after some research and more testing, she figured out she's definitely a 6.
I wanted to be a 3.
Did you?
Like, how can I be a 3? I wasn't.
I wanted to be a 4 because they seemed like such romance, like I don't know.
4s are super creative. Molly Antle is like such a healthy 4, and she's awesome.
Is she a 4?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, that makes a lot of sense. I just picture them as such loving heart, just like, oh, wonderful.
Creative. Like,
Yes,
she's so talented.
she is. She can do anything.
Yeah, she really can.
Like, can I give out a secret about our Foxy series?
Are you asking me for permission?
Yeah, I'm asking you. I think she was making some origamis.
Oh, she probably did.
Yeah, I think that's what I heard. And I was like, oh my gosh, she is amazing at everything.
Yeah, you need to tag her. You need to join her group. If you guys aren't in a group, you need to be in Molly Antle's group.
Oh, yeah.
Just saying.
Everybody needs a group.
That's right.
Especially in these times. Okay. Kelly Graham had a question. Oh, I must have missed that. Sorry, Kelly. Kelly. Oh, Kelly. Oh, what makes better friends? Same numbers or different numbers? Great question. We will end on this one.
Yeah, that is a good question. I think it depends on the number. Like 9s, for example, like we've just bragged on 9s. They're so great. Like really kind of get along with every number. And I think it's because they're so like easygoing and, go with the flow kind of friends that they tend to be, like I said, like they're kind of like the glue in friendship. So they tend to be ones that kind of get along with everyone. But I don't like, I'd have to do some research, and it's probably dependent on personality too, that you would have numbers that get along better with others based on like priorities and stuff like that too. Yeah. I want to say I feel like 7s get along with every number, but I think I'm just saying that hopefully. I think my perception is that my number gets along with 7s get along with everyone, but I don't know that I've ever read that. So I don't know what number I don't get along with. If I don't get along with you, don't comment that, please. I think our friendship's fine on my end.
Oh, and Tiffany says now she wants to know what her hubby's number is. Yes.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Well, we'll provide you guys with some resources, and like Kendall and I said, we'd be happy to answer anything else Enneagram related for you. So
absolutely,
reach out to us.
Yeah. Thanks so much, guys, for joining us. And we will, like Miranda said, we'll be putting stuff in the comment section.
Yeah, we could do
maybe
that.
Direct. Yep. Okay. All right. So look for that, and we'll talk to you guys later.